I would like to thank our respective ministers as well as senior officials for the hard work that they have put in preparation of this visit. It has taken them quite a number of weeks and months in preparing for this very historic visit. So we thank them. As we know, several challenges prevented the BNC from convening earlier. Not least of these was the impact of the COVID-19 pandemic, which restricted our travel and also restricted our ability to make a number of arrangements in preparation. South Africa counts the United Republic of Tanzania as amongst our dearest and most cherished friends. The support that Tanzania gave us in our struggle for freedom is unparalleled. In 2019, I had the honor of visiting the Solomon Mahlangu Freedom College in Morogoro in Tanzania. The institution, that is the Solomon Mahlangu Freedom College, bears testimony to the shelter, the comfort, and support that was extended by Tanzania to our freedom fighters for over 3 decades. I was recently reminded of the extraordinary story of a group of nurses from South Africa that were smuggled out of South Africa in the early 60s to go and work in Tanzania and to train nurses in Tanzania. Known as the 20 Nightingales, they were received by President Mwalimu Julius Nyerere and ANC President Oliver Reginald Tambo, and were then placed in hospitals around the country to treat patients and to supervise local nurses. Earlier this month, one of these revolutionary nurses, Sister Koleka Tunyiswa, passed away in Dar es Salaam. We paid tribute to Mama Koleka and to her fellow nurses for their sacrifice and contribution. These 20 Nightingales embodied the Pan-African spirit that guides our interactions as African countries today and also into the future. Tanzania supported our just struggle, and her noble people embraced us. For this, we will, as South Africans, forever remain grateful. As we consolidate our bilateral relations, we build on this solidarity and friendship because it is this that has formed a very solid foundation to our relationship. This has enabled South Africa to participate in the African Liberation Heritage Program hosted by Tanzania. From our side, we have instituted the South African chapter of the project called Resistance and Liberation Heritage Route. It is aimed at commemoration, celebration, education, and preservation of a crucial era of our history. Our rich history connects us as Africans and contributes towards strengthening people-to-people exchange. We believe that this state visit will further strengthen the bilateral, political, and economic relations between our two countries and enhance the work of our binational commission. We must use this opportunity to explore further areas of cooperation between our two countries. I'm pleased to learn that several agreements and memoranda of understanding between our departments are currently at various stages of negotiation and will soon be signed and subsequently implemented. One of the key priorities of the BNC is to increase trade and investment so that we may promote economic development and progress for the mutual benefit of our two countries. To do this, we need to address any impediments and create a conducive environment for bilateral trade and investment to flourish. I look forward to participating in the South Africa-Tanzania Business Forum that is taking place alongside the state visit. Just as we share common aspirations for the social as well as economic development of our countries, we also share similar views on the security and economic development of our region and continent. Our engagement in regional, continental, and global governance institutions reinforce the imperative of silencing the guns across the continent and working together for peace and stability. We should be concerned in particular at the concerted efforts to frustrate the resolution of the situation in Western Sahara. As South Africa and Tanzania, we need to continue to mobilize other countries on the continent and international partners towards a sustainable resolution to the Western Sahara conflict in line with the provisions of the 1991 ceasefire agreement. The changing international political landscape requires us to align our positions and approaches to ensure the voice of our continent is further strengthened at a global level. Once again, I welcome you, President, to South Africa and really look forward to the report of the deliberations of the ministers and segment to the Binational Commission. So I thank you, and thank you very much for coming. Thank you.
I thank you, Your Excellency, my brother Matamela Cyril Ramaphosa, President of the Republic of South Africa, and the co-chair of the second session of the Binational Commission. Our ministers from the South African government and from the government of the United Republic of Tanzania, led by the Ministers of Foreign Affairs here with us, permanent secretaries, heads of the defense and security organs attending this session, senior officials from the Republic of South Africa, the United Republic of Tanzania, members of the media, ladies and gentlemen. Is it still morning? Good afternoon. It's still morning.
It's still morning.
I'm having the Tanzanian, okay.
You have Tanzanian time.
So a very good morning. Your Excellency, allow me to commence by expressing my appreciation to you for the cordial invitation extended to me to visit your great country. It is a pleasure to be here in this beautiful city of Pretoria for a state visit which coincides with the second session of the Binational Commission between the Republic of South Africa and the United Republic of Tanzania. On behalf of my delegation, I wish to express my sincere gratitude for the warm reception and excellent hospitality accorded to me and my delegation, entire delegation, since our arrival in this great country. Thank you very much. Asante sana.
Thank you.
With me, Your Excellency, I bring to you and the brotherly people of South Africa. Fraternal greetings and best wishes from your comrades and friends of the United Republic of Tanzania. I wanted to introduce the members of delegation, but I think since you have met in different sittings, you have already known one another. So I'll skip the introduction part. But then on bilateral relations, Your Excellency, I wish to express our satisfaction and appreciation for the historic and excellent relations between Tanzania and South Africa. You have narrated the relation very well. So the people of Tanzania still hold vivid memories of your visit to our country in August 2019. And we acknowledge and thank you for the momentous and historic visit, which is a gesture of our long-standing friendship and solidarity built on the firm foundation laid by our founding fathers, the late Nelson Mandela and our very own Mwalimu Julius Nyerere. We all know the valuable contribution these two leaders played on Africa, or African liberation and unity, as well as the struggle for global equality, justice, and economic emancipation of the African continent. Tanzania highly values these historic relations, which date back to the days of liberation struggle, as you had said it rightly, and I'm certain names like Kongwa, Mgagao, Morogoro, Mazimbo, and Dakawa, they are still in Southern African nostalgically in the memories of Southern African older generation. The present generation they don't know this, but the older ones, they still remember. One time I was visiting Namibia, and then we were talking to the group of youth on politics and liberation, and then they said, no, we are fed up with these Kongwa people. They call them Kongwa people. I said, are you fed up with the Kongwa people? Do you know that they sent liberation of this country? And they told me, yes, they did, so what? So we still have to, to see that our youth still holds this memory, and they know exactly our countries, where are we coming from, and why are we here to date. So that's the firm foundation from which our excellent relations sprouted and continue to blossom to this day. And I have a firm conviction that this second session of the Binational Commission will offer us yet another opportunity to broaden and deepen our relations. Just to take you quickly on the political situation in Tanzania, we are doing okay. We are still working on the reconciliation with the opposition parties, the so-called opposition parties. We are doing the reforms in various areas and try to rebuild our nation. So we are working with them. At least we have managed to get them on the table and work with them. On economic side of it, the economic situation, yeah, we are progressing. The economy has been growing, GDP growing at a slow pace, but we have been growing. And my government has continued to take various interventions aimed at strengthening the national economy towards realization of national and international aspirations. On development corporations, since your visit, we have strengthened the ties on socio-economic ties between our two countries. The Binational Commission, which comes almost 6 years after the inauguration in May 2017, attests the fact that and affords us an opportunity to unimpededly explore all areas of potential cooperation and unlock those that are not performing to our mutual expectations. I believe this is the overarching goal for convening this session, and I'm convinced that under the leadership and guidance, under our leadership and guidance, we'll achieve greater results for the benefits of our two countries and people. As I alluded to earlier on, our relations have continued growing from strength to strength, and this is evident in many sectors. So before we embark on the second session of the BNC, allow me to highlight key milestones achieved since your visit in Tanzania in August 2019. In education, we have been able to sign an MOU for cooperation in the field of basic education, and it was signed by the Ministers of Education of our two governments on 7th July 2022. And it was great that the day coincided with the World Kiswahili Language Day. So the MOU embodies commitment for cooperation in learning and teaching of Kiswahili in South Africa public schools as a strategic language. I wish to assure Your Excellency that the Implementation Committee from Tanzania will visit South Africa to discuss modalities for the operationalization of the implementation plan by taking into consideration South Africa's particular needs. I wish them successful engagement. On the issue of Nelson Mandela Youth Dialogue, it was inaugurated in July 2022 and is a valuable platform for the African youth to deliberate upon key challenges prevalent in our continent, such as unemployment, poverty, pandemic, diseases, climate change and its effects, human and drug trafficking, as well as terrorism and violent extremism. I'm grateful to your government for sponsoring 4 of our youth to participate in the dialogue, and I look forward to seeing more participation from my country in future dialogues. And maybe the dialogues might be held in South Africa and in Tanzania as well. So we all acknowledge that the youth forms the largest part of the African population and that they must always be at the center of our agenda, not their agenda or somebody else's agenda. On the defense and security, we have enjoyed excellent cooperation over the years, both bilaterally and multilaterally. For instance, as part of the SADC bloc, we participated in peace support mission in Mozambique, northern province of Cabo Delgado, in the framework of SADC mission or SAMIM. I further note with satisfaction our cooperation in the Eastern Democratic Republic of Congo, DRC, where our countries have deployed troops and assets through the United Nations Organization Stabilization Mission, or MONUSCO, and Force Intervention Brigade, FIB. These are commendable undertakings, and it is my sincere hope that we will continue to strive for peace and security in Africa and the globe at large. And in this regard, and especially at bilateral level, we need to further enhance our military cooperation between our two national defense forces by increasing joint training exercise and exchange expertise. And I'm glad yesterday when I was received and being briefed by my team, I saw the Commander of Defense Force of my country here in Southern Africa trying to discuss issues with the CDF here in South Africa. So it's my hope that something is being cooked for mutual cooperation. On trade and investment, I should thank South Africa that a total of 70 projects from South Africa have been registered under the Tanzania Investment Center, valued at $137.4 million. The leading sector being tourism, which is valued at $36.37 million. The projects from South Africa have produced around 2,000 employment opportunities for Tanzania. Given the great potential that our two countries have, you will agree with me that it is high time our economic cooperation match our political cooperation. As we look forward to exploring investment opportunities in South Africa, we continue to invite all potential investors from South Africa to explore opportunities in Tanzania, particularly in areas of livestock, agriculture, pharmaceuticals, transportation, tourism, mining, manufacturing, and agro-processing. When I was coming here, my Minister for Agriculture was telling me that South Africa is exporting rice from Vietnam. But tell them we have about 22 million hectares which are favorable for growing rice, and we have only used 600,000 hectares. So we invite South African business community to come and farm with us and protect the foreign currency going to Vietnam. Yeah, you may buy it in Tanzania and maybe by using Tanzanian shillings or rand, as we will agree. So thank you very much for that. Cultural relations. Our cultural relations have been outstanding given the common and rich history we share. As such, several initiatives have been undertaken to further expand relations in this sphere. The launch of the Oliver Tambo Tour in 2008, the Tanzania South African Cultural Festival in 2022 have been momentous and resounding success in cementing our bilateral ties as well as people-to-people connections. We certainly look forward to more cultural exchanges between our two nations. In conclusion, Your Excellency, I wish to reaffirm my satisfaction on the excellent bilateral relations that so happily exist between our brotherly nations, and wish to reiterate my personal commitment and that of my government to further reinforce these relations for the mutual benefits of our peoples. I also pledge that Tanzania will engage in this second session of Binational Commission most constructively and with great enthusiasm to achieve outcomes that serve our mutual interest. And in that regard, I wish all of us fruitful deliberations. Thank you, Your Excellency. Thank you, everybody.
Well, thank you very much, Your Excellency, President. Thank you very much for your very kind remarks, particularly about the relationship between our two countries and our two peoples, but also amongst our officials and ministers. This is really heartwarming because it truly bears testimony to the standing of this relationship and its potential to be even a much more greater and more substantial relationship which can expand to greater progress to our peoples. So with that, you thought you are working on Tanzanian time. We're still in the morning. However, our friends, the media, usually at this time, at 11:30, they prefer to have their siesta, to go and rest, because they've been very busy all morning. So they usually take about an hour between 11:30 and 12:30 to rest and have a little bit of a sleep So I would like to allow them to take this opportunity to go and rest a little bit while we continue working. So they work in shifts and phases. So we will now allow the media to go and take their rest, which is scheduled to take place at this time, and we will call them once they have rested for a media briefing when they are refreshed. So, colleagues, we give you this opportunity to now go and rest. They will carry